Welcome to the Science of Hockey, the podcast where we break down the science behind ice hockey. I'm the analyst, your host, and every week we explore the data, research, and evidence that shape how we play, train, and understand the game of hockey. From biomechanics to performance psychology, we take you beyond the rink and into the research lab, giving you insights that go beyond hearsay and into what really makes the difference on the ice. Whether you're a player, a coach, a parent, or just someone passionate about the sport, we're here to bring you scientifically backed information in a language that's friendly and easy to understand. So grab your skates and let's dive into the science of hockey. Hello, and welcome back to the Science of Hockey. I'm the analyst, your guide to the cutting edge of hockey research. In this episode, we explore how virtual reality is revolutionizing sports science, focusing on the skills that set hockey players apart. Stay tuned for a game-changing discussion.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to take another deep dive?
You bet. Always ready to explore something new.
All right, so today we're tackling a really cool question.
Yep.
Can skills from one sport actually help you, like totally dominate in a totally different one?
I like where this is going.
Yeah, we've got a fascinating study we're going to look at today.
Okay.
And it used virtual reality.
Wow, virtual reality.
Yeah, to compare pro hockey players to freestyle wrestlers.
Freestyle wrestlers, okay.
Who had never, ever played hockey before.
Interesting.
I mean, talk about a clash of the titans, right?
Totally different worlds.
And the results are going to blow your mind, so buckle up.
I'm ready.
Okay, so first things first, paint us a picture.
Okay.
What was this VR hockey training program like?
So, imagine this. You're standing on a virtual goal line.
Okay.
And pucks are just flying at you.
Oh.
Fast ones, slow ones, some near, some far, you name it.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it's your job to hit as many as you can. Okay. Just like you would in a real game.
Gotcha. Okay. So we've got these experienced hockey players.
Right.
They're all in their early 20s.
Okay. Going
head-to-head with wrestlers. Also around the same age, but who, get this, have never played hockey before.
Right. Total newbies.
Total newbies.
Yeah.
What were the researchers hoping to find
Yeah.
with this kind of like epic matchup?
Well, they had 6 main hypotheses they wanted to test.
Okay.
Essentially, they were looking for any differences between the two groups.
Okay.
How they moved, how accurately they could hit those pucks.
Okay.
How quickly they reacted. Even their posture and balance while they were playing.
Posture and balance.
Yeah.
Really getting into the specifics here.
Finer points. Yeah.
All right. So did the hockey players just totally crush it?
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
When it came to hitting those pucks, both groups were remarkably similar.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
Are you telling me those wrestlers were keeping up with seasoned hockey pros?
Exactly.
Way.
Yeah, the wrestlers totally held their own.
Wow.
It really challenges our assumptions that years of hockey experience automatically translates to being better at this particular test.
Right. So what's going on here? Like, were the researchers wrong to think that the wrestlers would have a mental advantage?
Not necessarily. You got to remember, these wrestlers, they've spent years training to anticipate their opponent's moves.
Makes sense.
Then react super quickly.
Yeah.
Turns out those skills are critical in hockey too.
Oh, interesting.
They basically took that mental agility and brought it right into that virtual rink.
I see. But you think all those years of actually playing hockey gave the hockey players a leg up? Right?
There were some areas where their experience really showed.
Okay.
Both groups hit a similar number of pucks overall.
Okay.
But those hockey players were significantly faster at actually making contact with the puck.
Okay.
Especially in the easiest and hardest scenarios.
Interesting.
We're talking about what the researchers called RT2.
RT2?
Basically how quickly they hit the puck with their stick.
Okay, got it. Okay. So even though those wrestlers were picking things up quickly, the hockey players still had an edge in speed.
Yeah.
What do you think caused that difference? Just better hand-eye coordination from being on the ice so much.
It probably plays a role.
Yeah.
But we also got to consider that the wrestlers, they were totally new to this VR environment.
Right.
Using equipment they'd never even touched before.
Makes sense.
Plus, everyone was probably getting pretty tired by those really tough scenarios.
Totally. Now, you mentioned posture and balance before.
Right.
Did that come into play at all?
Definitely.
Yeah.
One key difference was head movement.
Head movement, okay.
The hockey players were incredibly steady.
Okay. Why is that so important? Does that actually affect your game?
It suggests a really strong sense of spatial awareness. They didn't have to watch the puck as closely.
Interesting.
Because they could kind of predict where it was going, almost like their brains were one step ahead.
Wow. Fascinating stuff. Okay, so big question here.
Yeah.
Does this study prove that skills can transfer between sports?
It definitely presents some pretty strong evidence.
Okay.
And what's even more significant is that it really highlights the mental side of things.
Oh, interesting.
Spatial awareness, anticipation, quick thinking.
Yeah.
Those are all just as important as physical skill.
That's a powerful lesson.
Right. This has huge implications for training in any sport.
So this goes way beyond just hockey and wrestling.
Absolutely.
We're talking about how we approach training and skill development across the board.
Exactly.
That's something we're going to dig into a little bit deeper.
Sounds good.
After a quick break.
Okay. It really makes you think about how we approach learning and developing new skills in any field, you know?
Totally. It's like those wrestlers had this secret weapon.
Yeah.
They didn't even realize they had.
Right.
Like their brains were already wired for success in a totally different sport.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
It's pretty wild.
And, if we can figure out how to identify and train these transferable mental skills, just imagine what we could do.
The possibilities.
We'd be unlocking these whole new levels of performance in all sorts of areas.
Okay, so now I'm really curious.
Yeah.
What skills have you developed that you've found surprisingly useful in other parts of your life?
Well, I spent a lot of time digging into research, data, that kind of stuff.
Right.
So naturally, I've gotten pretty good at synthesizing information, spotting patterns. It's funny how often those skills come in handy outside of work, whether I'm, trying to understand a complicated news story or even just making a decision about something personal.
Yeah, totally. I can relate to that.
Right.
I feel like my love of storytelling has really helped me connect with people and communicate better in all parts of my life.
That's awesome.
It's almost like a hidden superpower.
That's a perfect example of what we're talking about. We all have these unique skill sets, we've built up over time. And sometimes it just takes a shift in perspective to see how they can be applied in new and exciting ways.
This whole VR study is really opening my eyes to the possibilities.
Yeah.
Imagine using VR to help athletes switch sports more easily.
Right.
Or even to train people for jobs in totally different fields.
There's already some really cool applications of VR training.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in healthcare, education, even the military.
Wow, I had no idea.
It's pretty amazing.
So it sounds like this study is just the beginning of what's possible with VR and skill transfer.
Totally.
What are some limitations we should keep in mind?
Well, one thing to consider is the sample size. This study only looked at a pretty small group of athletes.
Right.
So it's hard to say, for sure if these findings would apply to a larger population.
And they only focused on 2 specific sports.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, just hockey and wrestling.
It'd be really interesting to see what happens when you compare athletes from a wider range of disciplines,
Right.
We could get even more insights into these transferable skills and how VR might play a role in training them.
I'm also curious how these virtual skills actually translate to real-world performance.
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
The study showed some promising results in that VR environment. But we need more research to see how those skills actually transfer to the ice rink or the wrestling mat.
Right. Does it actually make a difference?
Exactly.
In real life?
Yeah.
So there's still a lot we don't know.
Totally.
But this research is definitely a stepping stone to some really incredible breakthroughs in how we think about training and skill development.
I agree.
It's not just about working harder. It's about working smarter.
It's a really important point.
I think so, too.
We all have this incredible mental agility that we can tap into. And VR is proving to be a really powerful tool. Yeah.
For harnessing that potential.
This whole deep dive has been a real eye-opener.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm definitely feeling inspired to take stock of my own skills and see where they might lead me.
I love that.
I love that.
What about you? Oh, I'm already making a list.
Yeah.
It's amazing how one study can spark
Right.
so much curiosity and potential.
Yeah, totally. Before we wrap things up, I'm curious to hear if any other thoughts or questions came up for you as we were talking about this research.
As we were talking about the limitations of the study, one question kept coming back to me.
Okay, what's that?
Could VR training actually be the key to helping athletes switch sports more effectively?
Okay.
Or even more broadly,
Yeah.
Could it help us excel in other areas of life?
Interesting.
But targeting those transferable mental skills
we've been talking about.
That's a really thought-provoking question.
Right.
It's could I strap on a VR headset and suddenly become a master chess player?
Okay.
Because I've spent years honing my spatial awareness playing Tetris.
Well, maybe not suddenly.
Okay, fair enough.
But the idea is that by training those specific cognitive functions in a controlled virtual environment, we might be able to speed up that learning process.
Gotcha.
And see benefits spill over into other areas of our lives.
That's an incredible concept.
Yeah, it is.
I can already picture a future.
Right.
Where VR isn't just for gaming.
Yeah.
It's like a personal trainer for our brains.
Exactly.
Helping us level up in all sorts of ways.
I love it.
A pretty exciting prospect.
It really is.
As technology keeps advancing, who knows what's out there?
Yeah, the possibilities are endless.
This is exactly why I love doing these deep dives.
Yeah.
We start with one simple question, and it takes us down this rabbit hole of fascinating insights and potential breakthroughs.
It's the thrill of discovery and realizing that even in fields that seem totally unrelated, there are often these hidden connections just waiting to be explored.
Exactly. Well, listeners, we hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity.
Yeah.
And given you some food for thought.
Definitely.
What skills do you possess that might be unexpectedly valuable in a different field?
A good question.
Could VR training be the key to unlocking your hidden potential?
That's something to think about.
We encourage you to ponder these questions.
Okay.
And, as always, keep diving deeper into the world of knowledge and exploration. Makes you wonder if we've been thinking about this whole, skill development thing all along.
Yeah, in a way.
What if it's not just about, practicing one specific thing over and over, but more about building this, adaptable mental toolkit.
I like that, a toolkit.
That we can use in all kinds of situations.
That's a great way to think about it. It's we're moving away from that idea of being like a specialist in one tiny field and becoming more well-rounded, adaptable people.
Right, more flexible.
And VR could be a big part of that.
So instead of training for a specific sport or job, we could be training our brains to be quick, more adaptable, more spatially aware.
Yeah, those are skills.
Right.
That would help no matter what you're doing.
Exactly. That's the cool part.
And the exciting thing is, this research is just the beginning.
Right, like the tip of the iceberg.
As we learn more about how the brain learns and adapts, who knows what else we'll discover?
It's mind-blowing to think about all the possibilities. But let's bring it back down to earth for a sec. We've been talking big picture stuff, but what does this mean for our listeners?
That's the key question.
How can they actually use these ideas?
Well, I think the first step is just being more aware of the skills you already have. Think about what you're good at. What comes naturally. And then ask yourself, how could I use those skills in a different way? Maybe it's a new hobby or a different job or even just approaching a problem from a different angle.
That's a great point. It's like you're taking stock of all your mental strengths.
Exactly.
And seeing where they can take you.
And who knows? Maybe one day we'll all have personalized VR training to help us improve even more.
It's not as crazy as it sounds.
No.
The technology is moving so fast. I think we're just seeing the beginning of what's possible.
Well, listeners, we hope this deep dive gave you some new ideas and a new way to think about learning new things.
Would love to hear your thoughts. What skills have you found that you never thought would be useful somewhere else?
In a totally different part of your life.
Share your stories with us.
Keep the conversation going.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Keep exploring.
And keep diving deep.
Thanks for tuning in to The Science of Hockey. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to share it with your friends, teammates, or anyone who loves hockey as much as you do. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment to let us know what you liked, what you'd like to hear next, or any questions you have. Your feedback helps us make the show even better. Until next time, keep your skates sharp, your mind open, and keep chasing the science behind the game.